Let's get started with our first news story. Du Plessis is making headlines as he confidently claims that Khamzat Chimaev is concerned about his cardio heading into their highly anticipated clash at UFC 319. According to Du Plessis, Chimaev is definitely worried about how he will handle the relentless pace of a 5-round championship fight. The South African champion noted that while both men entered the UFC around the same time, their journeys inside the octagon have been very different. Du Plessis is already preparing for his third title defense, while Chimaev is only now gearing up to fight for his first championship belt. For Du Plessis, this gap in experience is not just a small detail, it's a game-changing factor. Being in there for 5 rounds changes everything, he explained. Don't tell me Khamzat isn't thinking about it. Sure, he can say, I kill everybody, I smash everybody. Great, but deep down you know he's never been able to keep up that same pace once the 3rd round comes around. Now he has to be ready for a 4th and a 5th round. That's a whole different level. And when you start thinking about it, you can't help but ask yourself, what happens if I can't finish this guy early? What if I'm forced to go the distance? Doing it in training is completely different from doing it in an actual fight. In the cage, under the lights, in front of the world, there's no hiding. Du Plessis went on to suggest that when a fighter has doubts about their stamina, it often shows in their approach. They may start trying to conserve energy early, but that decision can pull them away from their natural strengths and fighting style. You might try to save energy in rounds 1 and 2, he said, but then you're not fighting your fight, and that's dangerous. We've all seen that Chimaev doesn't usually fight like that. Just look at his performance against Robert Whittaker. He went out there at full speed just like always. That tells me that even if he has those doubts in his head, he's still fighting as if he doesn't, and when you do that against me over 5 rounds, it's gonna cost you. The middleweight champ made it clear that while he respects Chimaev's aggression, he has no such worries about his own conditioning. I have zero doubt, Du Plessis stated with confidence. I've gone all out in fights before and I've proven I can keep it up. Against Sean Strickland in my first title defense, I pushed at full throttle for the entire fight and still came out on top. Against Israel Adesanya, I scored that 4th round finish, showing I can keep the pressure until the end. I know I can push the pace for 5 full rounds if that's what it takes. I've been there. I've done it. And that's the kind of experience you can't fake. With UFC 319 approaching fast, these comments from Du Plessis add yet another layer of intrigue to what is already shaping up to be one of the most intense middleweight showdowns in recent memory. Both men are undefeated in the UFC, both carry finishing power, and both have unshakable self-belief. But according to Du Plessis, when it comes to conditioning, experience, and the mental toughness required to go the distance, there's no question he believes he holds the edge. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We're constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That's why we'd truly appreciate it if you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Now moving on to another big development in the MMA world, Dana White has officially confirmed that fighter pay will increase, and it's all thanks to the UFC's massive new deal with Paramount. Appearing on the popular sports show Pardon My Take, Dana opened up about just how impactful this partnership will be, not only for the fans and the company but also for the fighters themselves. According to him, this is one of the most significant moves the UFC has made in recent years, and the benefits will be felt across the board. Listen, Dana said, leaning into the point, when you do a deal like this, obviously we're talking about how good it is for the fans, and it's obviously good for the company, but it's incredible for the fighters. We've always had a motto where you eat what you kill when it comes to pay-per-views. Mathematically, you just figure it out and it's gonna be amazing. The eat what you kill philosophy means that fighters directly benefit from the revenue they help generate, especially in high-selling events. With Paramount's reach and pricing model, Dana believes fighters will have a much bigger pool of potential buyers, which could translate into significantly higher earnings. He stressed that this isn't just corporate talk. There's a real tangible shift coming that will change how fighters view their potential in the organization. Dana also reminded everyone that the UFC has a long track record of increasing fighter pay every time a major broadcast or streaming deal is signed. Every time we've made a new deal, fighter pay has increased, he emphasized firmly. This time is no different. Not only will fighters benefit financially, but the level of exposure they'll get is going to be huge. One of the biggest advantages he pointed to is accessibility for fans. Instead of the traditional pay-per-view price of over $80, fans will now be able to tune in for just $12.99. That's massive, Dana noted. More people are going to watch, more eyes will be on these athletes. And that means bigger names, bigger followings, and more opportunities for sponsorships and personal brand growth. In essence, the Paramount deal doesn't just mean a bigger paycheck on fight night, it means fighters can grow their value over the long term. Increased visibility could help younger up-and-coming fighters build fan bases much earlier in their careers, while established stars could reach new audiences worldwide. The ripple effect, according to Dana, will be felt in every weight class, across every division. The UFC president has often been criticized for fighter compensation in the past, but he seems confident that this new era will silence a lot of doubters. He sees the Paramount partnership as a game-changer not only for business but also for how fighters view their futures inside the octagon. If what Dana is promising holds true, UFC athletes could be looking at a new golden age, one where bigger paydays and larger fan bases go hand in hand. Now we turn to some truly heartwarming news from the MMA community, a moment that goes far beyond fight results or rankings. Former UFC fighter and Olympic wrestler Ben Askren is finally returning home after another challenging hospital stay. For those who may not know, Askren has been dealing with serious health issues that required a double lung transplant earlier this year, a life-changing and risky procedure. About 2 weeks ago, he was forced to return to the hospital due to complications following the surgery. The MMA world, along with fans from all over the globe, immediately expressed concern, sending messages of support and prayers for his recovery. Askren, known for his toughness inside the cage and his humor outside of it, has always shared parts of his journey with fans. This time was no different. He took to Instagram to give an update, posting a photo along with a short but hopeful caption, "Escaped again, hopefully this time it sticks." The message was lighthearted, but it carried deep meaning. It reflected not only his resilience, but also his optimism in the face of a battle that's far tougher than anything he's faced in competition. Seeing him head home again is a huge relief, not just for his family and close friends, but for the entire MMA community that has rallied behind him. While his path to a full recovery is still ongoing, this milestone is a step in the right direction. Askren's journey is a reminder that even world-class athletes known for their physical strength face battles where mental toughness, patience, and the support of loved ones matter most. His courage has inspired countless fans, many of whom have followed him since his wrestling days, Bellator and One Championship runs, and of course his UFC career. As he continues to heal, the hope is that each day brings more strength and stability. For now, fans everywhere can take comfort in knowing that Funky Ben Askren has once again beaten the odds, and is heading home to continue the fight surrounded by the people who matter most. Next up, Alexander Volkanovski has fired back in a big way after hearing recent comments from Henry Cejudo. Cejudo had stirred the pot by claiming that both Aaron Pico and Lauren Murphy could defeat the former featherweight champion at this stage of his career. Those remarks quickly made the rounds in the MMA world, and it didn't take long for Volkanovski to respond. As far as he's concerned, those predictions are way off base. Speaking to Main Event TV, Volkanovski addressed the idea of a potential fight with Pico, and rather than shy away from the topic, he leaned into it. In fact, he said the matchup excites him, not because he feels threatened, but because he's absolutely confident that he would dominate, especially in the wrestling department. "He might get 1 or 2 takedowns," Volk said with a shrug. "If he even gets me down, I'm straight back up. His best chance would be to land a big shot, but other than that, I mop the floor with him." The statement wasn't just about bravado. Volkanovski has built his career on shutting down strong wrestlers and forcing them into uncomfortable positions. Facing someone like Pico in his eyes would be just another opportunity to prove it again. Volkanovski also took a moment to discuss Pico's upcoming fight against Lauren Murphy, offering a bit of analysis. He described Murphy as a very safe, calculated, and strategic fighter, someone who doesn't take unnecessary risks and often works to control the pace. In other words, a tough puzzle for anyone to solve. "If Pico can get through him and blast through him, then we can talk," Volk said. "Then I could take it a bit more seriously, but right now I just don't see it." His comments make it clear that he isn't dismissing Pico entirely, but he's also not handing out respect for free. In Volkanovski's mind, big statements need to be backed by big performances, and so far he hasn't seen anything that convinces him Pico could handle his pace, his scrambling ability, or his fight IQ over the course of a high-level bout. As for Sakhanu's role in all of this, Volkanovski didn't seem overly bothered by the former double champion's opinion. Instead, he treated it as more background noise in the fight game, the kind of talk that comes and goes every week in MMA. Still, his tone made it clear that he's more than willing to silence doubters inside the cage if the opportunity presents itself. At featherweight, Volkanovski has already cemented himself as one of the most dominant champions in UFC history, and even though his recent run has faced some hurdles, he's far from finished. The idea that up-and-comers like Pico or Murphy could leapfrog into his territory without proving themselves first, that's something he's not buying for a second. For now, he's happy to watch how Pico's next fight plays out, but if the hype gets too loud, don't be surprised if Volkanovski steps in to shut it down himself. In other news, Sean O'Malley has given fans an update on his potential return to the octagon, and as always, Sugar knows how to keep everyone guessing. The reigning bantamweight champion revealed that he's currently aiming for either November or December for his next fight. That's the plan for now, but he also admitted that it's possible he might not step into the cage again this year at all. Interestingly, O'Malley shared a surprising piece of information. He actually asked for a short notice fight against Corey Sandhagen at UFC 318. This was right after the co-main event for the Max Holloway vs Dustin Poirier card fell through. It would have been a risky, high-profile move, but one that fits perfectly with O'Malley's unpredictable and confident personality. "I don't know when, I don't know where, and I don't know who," Sean said. "If I had to guess, it would be November or December. Ideally, I fight one more time this year, but it's possible I don't fight again this year. Honestly, it's even possible I never fight again. You just never know. What if I break something? What if I get injured? You can't predict these things." That statement might sound dramatic, but O'Malley's point is clear: the fight game is unpredictable. Injuries, unforeseen setbacks, and shifting opportunities can change everything in an instant. He's well aware that MMA careers can be short, and while he loves competing, he's also realistic about the toll it takes on the body. O'Malley also touched on an interesting phenomenon that many fighters experience: the rush to compete again right after a fight. Right after a fight for a week or two, you're like, "I want to fight next week," he explained. But then you chill for a bit, and once you start relaxing, you keep relaxing. That's just how it goes. That post-fight adrenaline high eventually fades, replaced by the comfort of recovery, family time, and simply letting the body heal. One positive update for fans, though, is that O'Malley says his toe, which has been a lingering issue for him in recent months, is finally feeling better for real this time. That's a big relief for the champ, as footwork and movement are key weapons in his unorthodox striking style. Without a healthy base, his dynamic attacks lose some of their sting, so this recovery is a major step toward a return. Whether he fights before the year ends or waits until early next year, one thing is certain: whenever Sean O'Malley walks back into the octagon, it's going to be a major event. His flashy performances, confident trash talk, and unique personality have made him one of the UFC's most marketable stars, and fans will be counting the days until his next walkout. For now, though, all they can do is watch and wait, just like the champ himself. Finally, Michael Chandler has weighed in on the always heated debate surrounding the lightweight title picture, and in his mind the answer is simple: Justin Gaethje should get the next shot at Ilia Topuria. Chandler made it clear that from his personal perspective, Gaethje has done enough to earn another crack at UFC gold. "If it were up to me," Chandler said, "I'd give the fight to Gaethje. I want to see him go out there and fight for the belt." Chandler's reasoning is straightforward. Gaethje has been one of the most exciting and dangerous fighters in the division for years, consistently delivering incredible performances and never backing down from a challenge. In Chandler's eyes, that type of legacy and commitment deserves to be rewarded with the sport's biggest opportunity. However, Chandler also acknowledged that things get a lot more complicated when you start looking at the situation from the UFC matchmaker's point of view, or as he called it, putting on the Hunter Campbell hat. When you look at the bigger picture, there are several moving parts. You've got the rivalry between Paddy Pimblett and Ilia, Chandler explained. That's a fight the UFC could want to make just because of the built-in drama and attention it would get. Then you've also got Armen Tsarukyan in the mix. Now Armen pulled out of a fight the day before due to a sore back or whatever it was. I'm not saying he has to fight 3 more times before getting a title shot, but it's something that factors into matchmaking decisions. Chandler was careful not to dismiss Tsarukyan's talent or potential, but he also emphasized that Gaethje's body of work speaks for itself. At the same time, Gaethje has been a mainstay in the organization and at the top of the division. He's earned it. I would give it to him. It's an opinion many fans share. Gaethje's wars inside the cage have made him a fan favorite and a proven draw. Still, the UFC often balances merit with marketability, which means this decision could come down to timing, injuries, and hype. And with UFC 319 right around the corner, these debates are only adding more fuel to an already blazing fire. The rivalries are intensifying, the stakes are higher than ever, and in the fight game anything can happen, and it usually does.